Hey everyone, and welcome back to Your Brain Lied. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're diving into something super common. Something that affects almost all of us, whether we realize it or not. It's about the little voices we carry around in our heads. The ones that tell us who we are, what we're allowed to feel, and how we should react to the world. These aren't just any voices. They're often echoes of messages we picked up from our parents or caregivers when we were kids. And sometimes those messages, well, they're not exactly helping us out as adults. Think about it. When you were growing up, your parents were your whole world. They were the rule book, the guide, the ultimate authority on, well, everything. So when they said things like, "Don't be dramatic," or "You're too sensitive," those words landed with a lot more weight than they might today. They started to shape how you saw yourself, how you understood your emotions, and how you behaved in the world. The thing is, even well-meaning parents can accidentally pass on messages that are less than ideal. They might be stressed, overwhelmed, or just repeating patterns they learned from their own parents. It doesn't mean they didn't love you, it just means they were human. And humans aren't perfect. Now, let's talk about what these messages might look like in real life. Let's say you grew up hearing, "Don't be dramatic." Maybe you cried easily as a kid, or you were really expressive with your emotions. Your parents might have said that to try to calm you down, or maybe they were just uncomfortable with big feelings. But what happens when you carry that message into adulthood? You might start to suppress your emotions, to downplay your reactions, even when something genuinely hurts or upsets you. You might tell yourself, "It's not a big deal," even when it is. You might avoid expressing yourself fully, because you're afraid of being seen as dramatic. It's like you're carrying around this little judge, constantly telling you to tone it down, to be less. Or maybe you heard, "You're too sensitive." Maybe you picked up on other people's emotions easily, or you were easily hurt by criticism. Your parents might have said that to toughen you up, or maybe they just didn't understand your sensitivity. But as an adult, that message can make you feel ashamed of your empathy, of your ability to connect with others. You might try to build walls around yourself, to become less vulnerable. You might beat yourself up for feeling things deeply, thinking that you're somehow flawed or weak. It's like you're trying to squeeze yourself into a box that just isn't the right size. Here's another one. You always mess things up. Maybe you made mistakes as a kid, like we all do, and your parents were quick to point them out. Maybe they had high expectations, or maybe they were just critical people in general. As an adult, that message can turn into a fear of failure that paralyzes you. You might avoid taking risks because you're convinced you'll screw things up. You might procrastinate on important tasks because you're afraid of not doing them perfectly. It's like you're walking on eggshells, constantly worried about making the wrong move. And what about, "You're so lazy"? Maybe you weren't the most energetic kid, or maybe you just had different interests than your parents did. They might have said that to motivate you, or maybe they were just projecting their own insecurities onto you. But as an adult, that message can make you feel guilty for resting, for taking time for yourself. You might push yourself to exhaustion, trying to prove that you're not lazy. You might feel like you always have to be productive, even when you're burned out. It's like you're constantly chasing an impossible standard, trying to earn your worth through constant activity. These messages, they act like little programs running in the background of your mind, shaping your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without you even realizing it. They become so ingrained that you start to believe they're just part of who you are. But the truth is, they're not. They're just echoes of the past. So, how do we start to break free from these old messages? The first step is simply to notice them. Pay attention to the thoughts that run through your head, especially when you're feeling down or stressed. Ask yourself, does this sound like something I've heard before? Does it sound like something my parents might have said? Think of it like this. Your brain is a garden, and these old messages are like weeds. You can't get rid of them if you don't even know they're there. So, start by identifying the weeds. What are the negative, self-critical thoughts that keep popping up? Where do they seem to come from? Once you've identified a message, the next step is to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Is this message helpful? Does it serve me? Chances are, the answer is no. These messages are often based on outdated information, on misunderstandings, or on your parents' own limitations. Let's say you've identified the message. Don't be dramatic. You can challenge it by asking yourself, is it really dramatic to express my feelings? Isn't it healthy to be honest about how I'm feeling? What's so wrong with being expressive? Or if you've identified the message, you're too sensitive, you can challenge it by asking yourself, is sensitivity really a bad thing? Doesn't it allow me to connect with others on a deeper level? Isn't empathy a valuable quality? It's like you're a detective, gathering evidence to prove that these old messages are wrong. You're building a case for a kinder, more compassionate view of yourself. And then, the most important step, replace those old messages with new, kinder ones. Instead of, don't be dramatic, try telling yourself, it's okay to feel my feelings. My emotions are valid. Instead of, you're too sensitive, try telling yourself, my sensitivity is a strength. It allows me to connect with the world in a meaningful way. This isn't about ignoring your flaws or pretending that you're perfect. It's about treating yourself with the same compassion and understanding that you would offer to a friend. It's about learning to be your own best advocate. Think of it like planting new seeds in your garden. You're replacing the weeds with flowers, with things that will nourish you and help you grow. It takes time and effort, but it's worth it. The key here is repetition. These old messages have been running in your head for years, so it's going to take time to overwrite them. You need to consistently challenge them and replace them with new, positive affirmations. Write them down, say them out loud, put them on sticky notes where you'll see them every day. The more you repeat these new messages, the more they'll start to sink in, and the more you'll start to believe them. Now, I know this can be a lot to take in. It's not easy to challenge deeply ingrained beliefs about yourself. It takes courage, patience, and a willingness to be vulnerable. But I want you to know that you're not alone. We all carry around these old messages, these echoes of the past, and we all have the power to change them. It's like learning a new language. It might feel awkward and uncomfortable at first, but with practice, it becomes easier and more natural, and eventually, you'll be fluent in the language of self-compassion. So be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and remember that you are worthy of love, acceptance, and happiness, just as you are. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few practical takeaways. First, take some time this week to identify one or two of those old parental messages that might be holding you back. What are the negative thoughts that keep popping up in your head? Where do they seem to come from? Second, challenge those messages. Ask yourself, is this really true? Is this message helpful? Does it serve me? Gather evidence to prove that these old beliefs are wrong. And finally, replace those old messages with new, kinder ones. Write them down, say them out loud, and repeat them often. Be your own best advocate. And as always, if you're struggling with this process, don't hesitate to reach out for help. A therapist or counselor can provide you with support and guidance as you work to challenge those old messages and build a more positive self-image. That's all for today's episode of Your Brain Lied. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode has been helpful, and I hope it's given you some food for thought. Remember, your brain isn't always telling you the truth, and you have the power to rewrite the narrative. Until next time, take care of yourselves, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.